commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for mandatory inclusion of portfolios in the nominations of ministers and of government of the Federation and commissioners of government of states prior to submission to the National Assembly and State Assembly. And for related matter, this is standing in the name of Honorable Eugene Okechukwu Dibiagwu.
I represent the very good and dependable people of Ohaji, Ebema, Ugut, and Oru West. I'm from Imo State. My dear Speaker, I rise this afternoon to move a motion that the bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Cap C23 laws of the Federation of Nigeria to provide for mandatory inclusion of portfolios in the nominations of the ministers of the government of the Federation and the commissioners of the government of a state prior to submission to the National Assembly and the House of Assembly of a state, and for related matters.
The fabulous people of Boni, Degema Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from River State. I rise to second the motion as moved.
Turn to democracy in 1999 offered Nigeria several opportunities and privileges in practical political activities and aspirations. One of such practical political activities included in the power of the National
Chairman
Assembly.
Southeast Caucus, kindly approach the chair.
In the National Assembly and the House of Assembly of a state to receive the nominations of ministers and the commissioners from the President and the Governor of his state, as well as the powers to screen and possibly confirm the nominations. Over time, the practice of forwarding only the list of the nominees through official correspondence without the inclusion of the portfolios by the President and the Governor of a state to the Legislative House has become identified and classified as outdated and old-fashioned, with its attendant consequences on governance. Dear Speaker and honorable colleagues, the desire for robust review of the nominations has raised the conversation for the inclusion of the portfolios proposed for each nominee. This, several commentators have argued, would help to scrutinize each nominee, examine the preparedness of such nominee for the national task in the particular sector where he or she is being nominated, and enhance public confidence in the nominations/nominees. And so, this bill attempts a bold engagement as proposing alterations to sections 147 and 192 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 in order to capture these ministers and commissioners by the President and the Governor of a state. Dear Honorable Speaker and distinguished colleagues, this bill is fundamentally structured, reflective of the sections of the Constitution supra sought to be altered or proposed to be altered. In section 147, this bill seeks to introduce a new subsection 7. New subsection 7 in response to the
What is your point of order, Honorable?
Honorable Speaker and distinguished colleagues, the discussion in issue, the point in issue here is that we have a proposal that before a nomination is being sent to the National Assembly, it must be accompanied with portfolio. And such that such persons is going to be drilled on such particular position where the President or the Governor of a particular state has fired him to operate as far as that governance is concerned. What I mean here, like in subsection in 147, we are proposing in that section the amendment. In 147, the amendment we are proposing is that that nomination or that person to that particular office of the minister shall, because we have to propose that amendment in 147 and in 192 to cover for the federal government and for the state. So in that 147 subsection 7, the amendment we are proposing there is that such nomination must be accompanied by the proposed portfolio to be occupied by such nominated person.
Thank you.
Then in 149, the proposal there is that such person to be nominated in a certain office or a certain office in the state must be accompanied with a portfolio, and that is in subsection 6 of 192. Honorable colleagues, in conclusion, the purpose of this bill vis-a-vis the deepening of democratic activities and...
You are still reading.
Okay. However, honorable colleagues...
You've made your points. Don't spoil the good soup you have cooked.
The House, Honorable Speaker, therefore, Mr. Speaker and my esteemed colleagues, I urge ourselves once more to adopt and approve this bill.
For yielding the floor to me, I would want to start by appreciating our colleague for bringing up this bill this afternoon. Clearly, what he intends to do is to make the work of the Senate that screens ministers lighter and more direct. A situation where ministers are presented to you, you don't even know the portfolio and the qualification of the person, you are bound to start asking general questions. But if you are presented to the Senate as the proposed Minister for Health, you will have direct questions that has to do with your ministry in terms of policy direction and all that. I think that will help us. In fact, the government of today, just recently, I think the president attached portfolio to the list that he sent to Senate, which is in tandem with the bill proposed by our colleague. But one issue that we also need to consider in this is where you have appointed ministers in your cabinet and there is need to rotate or swap ministers amongst ministries within, the implication is that they must come back for screening a second time. So in passing this, perhaps when it gets to the public hearing, all this will be considered, and then if provision will be made for it, it will be taken care of at that stage, when we will dot the I's and cross the T's.
Always room for consequential amendments in further existing enactments of the day. If by virtue of going this route, there are rooms created by existing enactment through consequential amendments, definitely those ones are handled. I think this is a straightforward bill. Let us not delay. I put the question, those in support of this bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This bill is referred to Committee on Constitution Review.